is back in
Welcome
the
back.
house.
Thank you so much. I don't know if I'm good luck or not though, because I feel like we got some technical issues going on. I think Cameron had it all taken care of last week, but it's okay. Hopefully the computer will be nice to me eventually, and we'll get smooth. We'll smooth it out.
You're the king after all.
I mean, hey. Oh,
But there is that adage that says if you don't use it, you lose it.
Oh, my
so
goodness.
You didn't use it for a week, so
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness,
you lost
yes.
a percentage.
Karma.
Gotta work back. Gotta shake back.
I got to get back into it. All right. Guess what yesterday was?
What was yesterday?
Yesterday was Groundhog Day.
What?
Is that right?
It really was.
You're
I
making it up.
remember as a kid growing up, Groundhog Day was like a big deal. Maybe because they covered it, in school and there was a whole thing around it. I don't remember it being, that big of a deal as an adult. But I just happened to see in the news today that yesterday was Groundhog Day. It's annually every February 2nd.
So what's the verdict?
Yes. What is the verdict?
The verdict is the groundhog did see its shadow, signaling another 6 weeks of winter.
What?
We will not have an early spring.
I disagree.
Whoa, disagreeing with the groundhog.
It's getting close to it's like 80 degrees outside.
Spring already. Right?
Yeah, I mean, it feels
Yesterday
like
was beautiful.
It
We
was.
spent outside all day. We were getting some chores done. It was gorgeous outside yesterday.
Yeah, I was on the road all day yesterday, but
The groundhog-
it was a beautiful day.
The groundhog doesn't live in Louisiana. That's the deal.
They
There you
hold this
go.
tradition, this ceremony every year in Pennsylvania. Yeah, and so it's really big. I guess, East Coast Pennsylvania, some places have like the whole big ceremony thing, but the official place I think is like Pennsylvania. But they also do it in Canada. So
Really?
Know that. Okay.
yeah, but history says, that it originated pre-Christian times over in Europe.
Man, history lesson today.
I know.
I
Who
love it.
knew?
Louisiana would be more like the nutria has to appear out of the shadows and see if he sees the sun or not.
I love it.
So even though we may have warm weather this week, the groundhog says, don't get used to it.
Groundhog has been wrong in the past, I heard.
Just a few
Yeah.
times. Just a few times.
Discrediting the groundhog. Beefing
Look,
with the
we
groundhog.
needed really, really cold a few days out of the winter season. Look, because we need to kill off some of these mosquitoes. Because
Yes, they came back
mosquitoes
yesterday.
here in the South are like.
Wait a minute.
They came back. It was like one day of warmth, and they were like, "We're back."
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
horrible. My
Yeah.
ankles are eating up.
And see, if we don't
Somebody's a
have
little
cold
upset
enough
about that.
temperatures,
I'm beefing with the mosquitoes.
if we don't have cold enough temperatures for, I guess, I don't know how much ever time it is, but they don't kill off those eggs.
That's what it is.
Yeah, and so they come back multiplied,
Vicious.
Vicious, yes.
like it's a family reunion.
Right.
I'm telling you. So we do need some really cold days.
Absolutely. Well, let's get into our question of the day. We
All
also
right.
want to real quick shout out Liz Ford, who's here as our guest today. Y'all, we love Liz. She's been on the
We
podcast
do.
before around the same time last year,
Right.
and she's here to talk about a lot of different stuff.
Yeah,
and she's hanging
she
out with
has
us
her-
the whole episode.
She has her hands in a few things.
That's
Just
right.
a few. We're happy to be here, guys.
And let's talk about your beverage because you did bring a mug too. So can you tell us a little bit about your mug?
Okay. Well, actually, this is my first time using the mug.
Oh, first time
Right,
use.
right. Number one, red is my favorite color.
Yes.
And my dad used to always watch CNN. So I went to the CNN Center in Atlanta, and I brought it for him. So I was
Okay.
just like, today would be the perfect one to bring it. And
Yes,
then-
it would.
And then inside of the mug, I have a nutritional tea.
Look at you.
Ready to jumpstart the day.
Yes.
Yeah, we were ready to jumpstart that tea when we found out it was an energy tea.
Yeah, right.
is like-
Full of flavor.
I'm needing that.
Yeah, we need that on a Monday morning, don't
Right.
we?
That's right.
Telling you. So for our question of the day, I love asking people this question. I feel like it says a lot about a person. So the question of the day, do you collect anything? And if so, what is it and why do you collect that item?
I do.
Tell us. Kick us off.
So the bears, Christmas bears. Do you all remember the Christmas bears? And at the footing of the bear, there was a year.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So I collected those bears throughout the years. My aunt started the tradition when I was like in maybe second grade. So I have them from like the early 90s
Oh,
up until when I
wow.
graduated from high school. And I probably just stopped collecting them like a little before COVID. So I was like, maybe I have too many at this point. So
Yeah.
it's a fun tradition. I love education. So I used to play like set up a classroom with the bears and the dolls. So it may
Yeah.
seem childish, but I love them. And I still have them all since like 92.
That's awesome.
That is really neat.
That's really cool.
I collect the snowmen
Okay.
with the year on it, and my mom started that, and I can't even remember when. I just realized, like, I have all of these snowmen from different years, but I mean, I quit collecting them too. I also collected porcelain dolls for a while. My dad's mother had a beautiful porcelain doll, and with the big dress, and it had the umbrella, that was on her wrist, and she was all fancy. And I thought, this doll is beautiful. When she passed away, that doll was given to me, and then as an adult, I started collecting porcelain dolls. I think probably just because I was missing her, but I mean, I don't do that anymore. I'm looking at those dolls. I have them all in a box, and I got to figure out what I'm going to do with them because, they're not traveling with me. But so
Yeah.
I've got to figure out where in the world do I give these dolls away, or do I just trash them? But I do have quite a few of them.
Yeah.
But so right now, I'm not currently collecting anything other than memories.
Right.
Beautiful.
And that has a
Gotcha.
lot to do with space too, right?
Girl, it's just, I mean, I'm not a hoarder, and, I don't like a lot of stuff,
Right.
and because, you run out of space to keep it. And, yeah, so I'm trying to shed stuff. Travel light.
Right.
Well, the thing I collect is pretty light and not very spacious. So my dad passed down to me his pin collection probably when I was a teenager.
A pen collection?
A pin collection.
Like
so
ink pen?
PIN.
Oh,
Yeah.
pen.
Yes. So these like enamel pins.
Yeah.
I should have brought one, but I started collecting them after building on his collection, and I find them in thrift stores. Whenever I go somewhere, I try and find a pin. So that's kind of what I collect, and it's
That's
small, so I don't have
Yeah, that
finds
is
a lot
small.
of space.
Space, right.
That is neat. What's the most interesting one you have?
I have this vintage one that like is a Walmart truck that I really like.
neat.
It's like an
That is
18-wheeler Walmart. I don't know. It's really cool. It's vintage, from the 90s. So, well, and I guess it's not vintage, retro, I guess. But
Not quite retro, just a little older.
a little older.
From the 90s.
Right.
I was like,
said
I'm about
retro.
to step in it right now. But yeah, that one's probably my favorite. All right, Ryan, what do you collect?
Sounds like, I think there's more than problems right now. I'm like checking different things. But anyway, what do I
That's so
collect?
accurate.
See? That's why I don't come on the show anymore, because you're unfairly treated. What do I collect? Actually, I tried my best. I used to keep a lot of things kind of like you. And like I try to live kind of just, okay, like not minimalistically, but, just try not to, you can't take it with you, it's
Right.
just a lot. But I used to, I still have to this day a baseball card collection, believe it or not.
Oh, wow.
It's stored up in, the closet somewhere. I can't say I collect them regularly now, but I have some from way back in the
Retro. Nice.
retro era,
Oh, sorry. I'm
vintage
so
era,
sorry.
whatever.
These are vintage cards.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
how many do you have?
I have some from the 80s and 90s. I don't have like the 40s and 50s with Babe Ruth and Mickey Mantle. Those are worth a lot of money.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
But yeah,
yeah,
I
that's-
probably
he
have
has the
about
faux retro collection.
yeah. I probably have I don't know.
Almost retro.
I probably got about 500 baseball cards.
Wow.
yeah.
That's a
Yeah.
big collection.
In some albums and some just cases and things like that.
Oh,
so,
neat.
yeah. So I
That is
presume-
really cool. One day they'll be retro.
Yeah, right.
hold them long enough, they'll be retro.
Pass
Yours
them
too,
down.
Cameron.
Yeah, one day.
Vintage. The antique shop.
I guess maybe that term could be relative.
Oh, of course it is.
Yeah.
It is.
You
It
being
is.
a young buck,
It's retro. Right.
Y'all, now that I've stepped in it, let's step in something else. Let's go to our news and upcoming section for today. Y'all, we have so much upcoming this
We really do.
week.
That was a dry period where we didn't have a lot going on, but now
Yep.
people are getting back and getting busy.
I know. So first of all, we have an open meeting for the Knights Esports Club for
That is a seriously popular club. Every time people come to school and, I'm advising them, hey, what is it to do around here? I thought I saw that. They would say, I thought I saw that door on the first floor. People they're just drawn to it. Whenever I'm advising new students, they just want to be a part of something. And that's probably one of the first things they go do is go to the
whole thing.
I mean, I thought it was just my grandsons because, every time we would visit, they'd want us to, because, every time we would visit, they'd want us to sit down and watch them play. I'm like, what kind of foolishness? You play with someone, like, give me a controller. They want you to sit and watch them play. And then I found out people are actually making money off of people watching them play.
That's
I
some
mean, it's
entertainment.
like you cannot. Yes, they make. I mean, these
YouTubers.
kids are making a ton of money doing that. Some of them are making a ton of money doing that. Some of them, and as a parent, that is wild.
Yep, it's interesting what they've turned into a career these days. Speaking of turning something into a career, is
Okay.
your interest in allied health peaking right now? Well, guess what? February 4th, we
There we
have
Have a script? I mean,
We all
what is going
have.
on?
We all have a job, Cameron.
I saw my window and I
What
was
is going on?
We all have a job, Cameron.
I saw my window and I was like, I gotta take it. So
Okay.
Love that segue, Sally.
Okay.
Love that segue, Sally.
Segway Sally. Interest meeting at the West Monroe campus. Interest meeting program, finding out more about it. How do you become a practical nurse? At 6 p.m. on February 4th at the West Monroe campus. Learns coming up. So there's a series of these coming up where Dr. Alberta Green, who spoke last semester, is also going to be speaking about recharge for mental health for students, and it will be at the West Monroe campus on the 4th, and it will be that talk will be broadcasted to
A phenomenal speaker.
She
Yes.
really is. These are those grant monies at work.
Yep, absolutely. And we'll also have on February 5th and both campuses at Winsboro and Lake Providence. It'll be broadcasted at Lake Providence. Another talk. So she's doing like bam, 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 2 talks this week and then 2 talks. So I think that's really important that
is.
we're covering all the
Access.
campuses.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
The accessibility to this information and just a space to really think about your mental health and be aware and learn more is really important. So we are looking forward to that.
All right.
Another thing to look forward to this week, February 6th at the West Monroe campus. Your campus
West
is just
Monroe
all
is hot,
booming this week.
It is hot.
We have the OER Student Awareness Day, and so it's a lunch and learn that Logan to all the campuses in person and present on OER, which is Open Education Resources. West Monroe Cafeteria. So make sure to sign up because I believe there's limited spots available. So faculty encourage students to sign up for this, and they can get a free lunch out of it too.
Whoop, whoop.
Right?
That always draws a crowd.
Yeah,
Sure
food.
does. Next up, I think this next thing is also going to draw a crowd. City will present an analysis, and I'm just reading this, y'all. I'm sorry, but will present an analysis of the economic landscape for Louisiana in 2025, and with the new metadata center that's
Right,
coming up.
right.
So if you're interested in that, you've been following that, this might be a really great talk to go to just kind of get an idea of what 2025 is going to look like for Northeast Louisiana.
Plus, it's always good to know what's with, even with entities outside of campus who are utilizing our campus. So
That's
if
right.
you see a crowd around and lots of people or cars coming in and out, you know what's happening is that we have the economic outlook presentation happening, and that's on Friday.
Yep, February 7th at 8:30 a.m. My only thing, y'all, we ran through these. Woo!
Look, and you thought we were going to be forever on those.
I was worried because we have a lot of stuff. We'll see how we do in case you missed it.
All right, let's roll to it.
Roll to it.
That's the best move.
That's like my favorite part. Like, I love that so much. So we had surprisingly, a couple of things that happened last week. A lot of things that came through our inbox. So first we had the LDCC Welding Challenge, first ever LDCC wide. Was there to judge, and there were students from Winsboro, Ruston, and West Monroe that showed up.
Was the competition hot?
It, you know,
For your mom jokes, okay?
Congratulations to the hot competition, Caleb Cox and Blake Brown, for winning the opportunity to go on to Skills USA.
Yeah, so that's at the state level. Yeah.
Yeah, so they get to go to New Orleans this week.
Yeah, and that's, really cool. And also, I wanted to shout out Patience Talley, a campus director who showed up to support her guys and stayed for a good amount of the time. I got her. And then shout out to all the welding instructors. Thank y'all for opening up your shop to host this event. I did not get that information.
Okay.
Yes, but Caleb Cox and Blake Brown. It's funny.
Congrats to those students.
Absolutely.
Congrats to all of them. All of them, yeah.
More student success. We had the oath of office for the Monroe SGA new team coming up.
Head representation here.
Absolutely.
Extremely.
Because he takes pictures. Jag as well. I mean, he's just really in the Black Male Mentorship Program. He just got awarded that scholarship, so we'll be seeing his face a lot. He's a very active student. And then also congratulations to Charles Kaysen, SGH, who used to be a senator at the West Monroe campus. I
And
believe.
now she's here at
You
the
knew that
Monroe
name.
campus.
Yes.
Yep. So she got her barber styling at West Monroe, and now she's here in the business college, I believe.
Yep,
So
she is.
awesome.
Actually, barber styling is technically a part of the Division of Business and Technology.
Here we go.
Is she still under you?
Yeah. And so she came over, and now she's taking another program, which is excellent. And if memory serves, I want to say Marcus Jackson is in our IT program as well, Division of Business and Tech.
Whoa.
Just saying. Okay.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Just shamelessly promoting.
If you want to be successful, come to the School of Business and Tech. You'll be all right.
Do you have stats on that?
Yeah.
I say not quite.
It's my stat. It's the one that I just said.
Ooh. We're getting some.
That's not
some
legit. That's not official.
Believe
beefing
me.
over there.
Official.
And be out to take pictures, which we love him for, and he takes great pictures, and he's really growing in his photography.
It was a tough morning, and I
Cameron
did.
goes,
I did have some that day, and it really was good. Well, yeah, I had about maybe half the cup was creamer, and then the other half
black
was
coffee.
coffee.
Right.
Yeah, it was really dessert and
And then the other half
black
was
coffee.
coffee.
Right.
yeah, it was really dessert and a cup. That's why it was so good. And
Yeah, it
mine
really
was like
was.
that too. Also we have some stuff coming out of Miss Liz's area. The Wasserman High School
Course there, our area, the 18-wheeler came out. So that was just
Waiting to get in.
interested.
That is so cool.
Yes.
Amazing.
Student ambassadors. So it's big, yeah.
Absolutely. It looks like an amazing event. I see our new workforce director, Catherine Middlebrook, was also there
yes, she was very
with some of her
supportive.
staff. That is awesome. Ruston and Jonesboro, what they offer dual enrollment wise. So shout out to the Ruston and Jonesboro faculty.
Hey,
Guys, we rolled
Look,
through
we
that.
are rolling. We are rolling.
Oh my gosh. So now we get to do our fun feature. Let's get into it. All right, you're in the hot seat.
All right.
Dun, dun, dun. Yes, and your interviewer or interviewers, I know one of them at least, is got like a whole list of questions for you. So.
I'm ready.
Liz says she is ready. All right, Miss Liz. Well, let's dig into who Liz Ford is.
Okay.
First,
Okay. Well, at LDCC.
born
Born.
right all the way. We're
You
going
are not
all
in
the
control
way
of
back.
this.
All the way back.
Born and raised right here in Monroe, Louisiana, on the south side of Monroe. So I'm very appreciative of community.
Yes.
So it's very fortunate that I have the opportunity to work at a community college.
There you go.
So
Parents.
my parents were educators, particularly my mom. My dad had multiple career fields, but he retired from the News Star, but he was an educator for junior high. My mom was in a school district, so a lot of people knew her as well as my
Yes,
father.
they did.
So I came from a family of educators. Even my grandmother.
She couldn't get away with nothing anywhere.
Right. Even when in elementary school, my mom was the vice principal at the time at Burnt Jones Elementary. So even the smallest thing, my mom knew about. But I'm appreciative of it. So I had a great family foundation and structure in education and a
Yeah.
great support system. So I'm thankful for that.
Yeah. Now, what did your dad do? You said he was at the news store?
Yes, he retired from the news store as a press room manager.
Oh, right.
And he taught at Jefferson Junior High for many years, which is now a middle school. So
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, boy, you grew up with a community of people watching you.
All eyes on you.
Yes,
Uh-huh.
yes. So anything done, my parents knew about it. But yeah, so I'm thankful. Everything was
Kept you in line.
all the time, all the time.
Now, I know you're not an only child.
No.
So
So
talk-
it's just my brother and I, and he's also an educator. So he taught at several schools, but more recently Carroll High School, and he's also a coach as well. So again, that strong line of education just reared throughout my brothers and I. My brother and I, and even my grandmother was an educator at Washita Parish High School.
Wow, that is steep, deep in your lineage. Is your brother a history teacher?
Yes,
I don't know. Why does that always go hand in hand with
With
coaches?
coaches.
You know, because it's like, they want to grab a coach, they go get the history teacher. You know, that is interesting. I said that half expecting it to be true, but it is
Really?
absolutely entertaining now that you've confirmed that.
yeah, it's ongoing fact with coaches, like you said.
Oh, my gosh.
And just a fun fact with education in the family, my dad and I graduated from Grambling, and my brother and my mom were Southernites. So that's so Bayou Classic, it was always an exciting time in the
Yeah.
household, and that's when
Oh,
the
my
annual
goodness.
rival-
The rivalry
Right,
was
right.
thick.
And the house still stands.
it does
Okay.
with the black and gold. yes, absolutely.
So you and your brother are really, really close, it seems.
Yes, close in age and even just close and tight knit to this day. So if we're not talking every other day, then I'm gonna think something is wrong if we're not talking. So we are close because we grew up in a tight knit family, just the
Yeah.
four of us.
That is really nice. I have a brother. Well, I'm the oldest, and I have a brother, and we don't talk that often. And then I have a brother that I found out about just a few years ago, and we text. He's 16 years younger than I am, and it really shows. I mean, because I'll call him, and every once in a while he'll answer. But other than that, he'll text. And it could be like right after I called. I'm like, dude, I just called you. And he'll text back, hey, sis, how's it going? I'm like, I just called you. Answer the phone. But yeah, that's a very different type of relationship.
A sibling.
But
right.
the brother that I grew up with my whole life, we've never had that closeness like that. And when I saw some Facebook post of you and your brother, I thought, wow, that
And close, and he has
Yeah.
with his children. They're like, I consider them mine. So we travel together, do fun activities. I'm a big kid myself, so we all have a lot of fun, right?
So you're the fun aunt.
I'm the fun aunt, like bowling, any kind of sports related activity, ward activities, traveling. Hey, let's go, let's do it.
Yeah, that is cool. All right, so what's one really special memory from childhood besides the Southern and Grambling
The
competition?
the rich family tradition come from a supportive family on both ends. Ford, my mom's maiden name was Gunn, so she kept her maiden name, so she's known. Everybody knows as Dr. Gunn Ford, Gunn-Ford. So a strong family tradition, good eating, it's big holidays. Thanksgiving was my mom's favorite holiday, and even Christmas. I remember Christmas. I'm strong on keeping up with tradition, even though they both passed on. But keeping up with those traditions and ensuring that those who come after my brother and I, that they know about these traditions, and we keep my parents' legacy alive.
That's awesome. That is awesome. All right. So this month, being Black History Month, we want to tap your your knowledge and your experience, your life experience on a couple of topics. So, first of all, let's talk about a couple of things that you really appreciate about your culture, specifically your Black culture, because you have a culture of education, you have a culture of family, and those things could also, be a part of your response for that. But specifically, Black culture, what are some things, or a couple of things that you really appreciate and celebrate?
Well, one of the many things that resonates with me with my culture is I attended 2 HBCUs. I received my undergraduate degree from Grambling, HBCU, which of course my University of New Orleans. So a year after Katrina, in August 2006, I lived in New Orleans for 5 years.
Wow.
So it was a different culture there as well, but I appreciate HBCUs, the structure of higher education with HBCUs, and then the strong tradition and values of the African American culture in the support system, whether it's dealing with social injustices from various aspects, even in employment, and the disparity in employment throughout the nation, how we stick together and support one another. But so I'm glad to see that things have changed drastically throughout the past 2 decades. So, and even support from other cultures too.
I think that that's something that may not be highlighted often enough, is the support from other cultures, because I think the last time I checked, I believe that African Americans were like 18%, and this was years ago, so I know that stat is different today. Ryan, the percentage of African Americans, there had to have been help from other cultures, other races, help us in our plight for civil rights.
Right. So equality, especially with very thankful for that and love for the culture.
Yeah. We have we still have some ways to chart, but
Absolutely.
there has definitely been an HBCU. For those of us who may not have attended an HBCU, how is it different from a non-HBCU?
Okay, since I've never attended a non-HBCU, but I have worked at and currently working at one that is a PWI, predominantly white institution. But I know at the institutions I've worked at in higher ed, I appreciate the diversity, the love and respect of others who may not even, from your colleagues and supporting of students all around. So even though it was great HBCU experience, I experienced both cultures as a student as well as currently an employee in higher ed outside of an HBCU.
Yeah. One thing that were you able to find that percentage? No.
U.S. population?
I think it was 18% last time I
Yeah,
looked.
I saw some different numbers. Some
Different
was
numbers.
like 14%, some was like 18.
Okay.
It wasn't quite nailed
Okay.
down yet.
Cool beans. So Grambling, I want to go back to that just for a second. I promise you, every person that I've ever met from Grambling would make you think that there is
That hard.
absolutely
Right.
no other university
school
on
pride.
earth
Yeah.
like Grambling is it. Like, did y'all take a class on Grambling pride? I mean, because seriously, they really do have it. They really are steeped in Grambling pride. Did they like make you all?
Well, now
Was that an
it
orientation?
it was almost equivalent to it. It was the history of Grambling. So knowing the history, like it was a required course. So I had a greater number one. I appreciated Grambling before I even was
Wow.
a student, but just to know the history. I'm a big
Yeah.
black history buff. So to know the history from this required course, it was called freshman seminar at that time. That was back in 2000. But it made me have a greater appreciation for the
Wow,
school.
I bet.
Hey, Cameron, that's back in 2000. Was that retro or vintage?
Still stepping in it.
That is hilarious. Okay, so that explains it. That would. So I know from being Facebook friends with Liz, some of the things that she does within the community, and she's very, very active in the community, just like she is here at LDCC. How important is it to you for you to be actively involved within your community, because you're boots on the ground with different types of drives and collecting things for other people in need. I mean, why is that so important to you, for you to be hands on with those type of things?
Well, I believe that's my God-given purposes. So I pray that God blesses me to fulfill my mission and my purposes here. So I enjoy working with the community, my church, and it's fun that I can actually do that as far as community work through reaching others in education here at LDCC. So it kind of all works hand in hand. Number one, I have a love for it. Been invested in it since I was a young girl. Even like junior high, I started realizing, okay, education is what I want to do. And then working with the community and youth and letting them know about educational opportunities and resources, even as well as young adults. So it goes beyond school-age children, just my love for helping one another through organization. I'm also a member of a sorority, Delta Sigma Theta sorority, so we do a lot of public services within our sorority, and as well as my church, New Tabernacle Baptist Church. So just being invested in supporting the community right here where I was raised is important.
That's good.
I think something that you're hitting on a lot is the love of just organization. You're part of many, many organizations, and we're stronger, of course, together than we are separately. And so you keep hitting it with church and the sorority and school and all those things. So it's I like that you keep maybe unintentionally hitting on that same fact,
Right.
that you're a part of many, many organizations, and it's through organization, it's through community that we are able to make change and be effective. So that's good stuff.
That is absolutely right, Ryan. And I think that if we're not on the front lines of serving our culture, we can't expect other people to show up.
Absolutely.
Speaking of which, so you mentioned that you are a history buff.
Love it.
Okay, so let me ask your opinion on this. Do you think that the unity and support amongst the Black culture for the Black culture has increased or decreased over time? And where do you see our vulnerabilities?
So even in our culture, there's has been a separation maybe since after the 70s. And I think that has a lot to do with class, socioeconomic class. So there has been a slight separation in the past 2 decades that I've noticed. So there's still support, like support for injustices, but like you said, there's always means for improvement. So those are some things that I've noticed. And then I can think about MLK weekend. I'm big on students, young children knowing about history. So it's more than just a day off for a holiday for MLK.
Right.
So either I took my niece to Birmingham, Alabama, because they have an amazing civil rights institute.
They do.
There. So we enjoyed that weekend. I said, look, we either going to do a day of service, which LDCC had a great day of service right here on campus, the Monroe campus. I said, or either we're going to go to either Atlanta, Memphis, or Birmingham. So we had a great weekend.
Good.
It was family fun because she's 10, but we also made it an educational opportunity for knowing Black history. So I think children and even young adults, maybe they missed out on opportunity even in an educational setting to know about the history. So that brought about a separation as well.
So you, excuse me, hope that's not the flu.
Everybody.
So
Everybody's just like,
Right in the mic.
you were fortunate enough and blessed enough to have grown up in I'm gonna call this a whole home, meaning both of your parents were present and for your whole childhood growing up.
Right.
Not everyone has had that. When you look at our families across the landscape, how do you think it compares now to the 60s or 70s?
That's a deep question.
And then what are some consequences or advantages, either or both, of now versus then?
Well, I know growing up, to me, in my child mind at the time, it seemed like those who came from single-parent households, this is just me thinking in retrospect, they had greater opportunities that were available to them, if that made sense. So I think my brother and I were excluded for certain financial opportunities. Oh, okay. Seemingly it was saying, oh, your parents make too much money. You can do the
Got it.
summer job, or you can't get this scholarship or money for schooling. Now, my brother got a full scholarship. Now, I didn't take high school as seriously, but I felt like growing up, certain opportunities we weren't able to get because of certain financial status. Now, that's not saying we had a lot of money. So don't think that. But
Honey, I know. I relate. Yes.
yes, so that can be relatable to some. So I can't put myself in someone else's shoes when you talk about one parent household. But I did grow up on the south side of Monroe. I had friends from the south side, north side growing up, and I grew up from all black schools growing up. Burjohn Lane Elementary, Jefferson, Wasman, and Grambling, even up until getting my master's at Southern University in New Orleans. So I have a great appreciation no matter what your background is or what your culture is.
You know, when I was growing up, I mean, it's not a secret. I've shared it on the show before that my mom was a teen mom. Her mom was a teen mom. She did eventually get married, as did my mom. But when I looked around the landscape of that side of the family, it was mostly single women. And then when I look at the landscape today, a lot of that hasn't changed. And it wasn't so retro, Cameron. It wasn't like years and years ago, but I'm throwing it at Cameron still. But that's to say that, that part of it hasn't changed very much, it seems. And I know, coming from a home where my dad wasn't present, and I had a lot of friends whose dads were not present in the home, we missed some things not being that whole family unit. And I personally think our culture is missing out on not having whole families. And that's where a lot of the organizations, the civic organizations that you belong to, the HBCUs, really the churches, other families, other people in the community, where those roles, our roles are so important, because we can move in and fill gaps. We can't be everything to everyone, but what we can give, it's important to give it, because we don't know the difference that it's making in other people's lives while we do that.
And there's a lot of youth organizations within sororities and fraternities. So we reach out to those youth, particularly those who may come from a single parent household. And I know a lot of black men who are really invested in the organizations and assisting where they can in the community with our youth.
Yeah, and that's a component that is so important, and it's so commendable here that the institution has recognized that, and through the work of Dr. Thomas have established the Black Male Mentorship program, because our guys need that example. Moms for years have stepped in and tried to do that job of raising boys, but it's all to our men give things that we can't give.
I agree.
And so LDCC, the students of LDCC are so blessed to have that organization, and the men who choose to be active and mentor, because I see a lot of fraternity guys here on our MLK service day. That's so great, because then you see a lot of college young men here as well, and I've seen some younger kids here too on MLK Day. They're seeing that example. I mean, they're seeing them in action, and that means so much, because I'm telling you, in a lot of neighborhoods there is no example.
Right. We have to lead by example to our children, because if they don't see